So it's my pleasure to now introduce Kerry Weston. Kerry Weston started her career in journalism 39 years ago, actually, in our own backyard, Coconut Creek. She went to Coconut Creek High School, and she was on the Harbinger newspaper. She attended the University of South Carolina with a Bachelor's of Arts in Broadcast Journalism. She was hired directly out of college by WPLG Local 10 News and has stayed with them for the 39 years. Kerry has primarily acted as a news assignment editor for most of her career. In 2009, she was promoted to assignment desk manager and futures planner, whose primary responsibilities were assigning reporters to their daily stories, reacting to breaking news, maintaining a constant communication with show producers and news managers, and assisting in the production of special segments, including the Iowa Caucus, Super Bowls, the 75th anniversary of D-Day, royal weddings, and more. It is my great pleasure to welcome Kerry Weston to the Zoom meeting. Kerry, it's all yours.
Thank you very much for having me today. I really appreciate the opportunity to kind of reach out, talk to all of you, and put a face to a name and to a television station. Yes, I was fortunate enough to get a job here right out of college. I sort of grew up here. My parents moved down here when I was 9 from New York. So yeah, I started working here. I left for about 5 years. I went up the road to West Palm Beach to WPTV for 5 years, where I was a reporter. And being a reporter was fun, but I liked assignment editing more. I like organizing, keeping track of everybody, knowing what everybody is doing. As a reporter, you're out in the field, you're in your own little shell of what you're doing that day. And I kind of found it isolating after being on the assignment desk right out of school for 3 years and working in the breaking news and following up on multiple stories and not just the one story of the day. So I have been very, very happy on the assignment desk all these years. I can't believe that next year I'll be, celebrating 40 years in the business. When I was 16 when I decided I wanted to go into television journalism and to live this dream and be able to stay in my dream all these years. I'm proud of myself. I work for a great company. Started off as Post Newsweek, and now I work for Warren Buffett. Warren Buffett owns our television station. So again, I've always worked for a good company, good benefits, good family policies, and they work with you. And also I work with the best in the business. And I will get into that in a minute. But I want to explain a little bit about my responsibilities here as a futures planner and as an assignment editor. I create a story list every afternoon for the next day. That includes press releases, commission meetings, most recently food distributions, mass distributions, testing sites. We receive on the desk about 500 emails a day from campaigns, the public, my mother's having 105th birthday, etc. We get it all here on the assignment desk. We read it all here on the assignment desk, and then I kind of cut and paste and put it in the days to come to create that futures file. So we start the day off, believe it or not, with a list. At 9 o'clock's our first story meeting, and I read that story list of events that are solid. We know they're going to happen. And then we go now in Zoom to every reporter who's working that day. They pitch a story, maybe 2 or 3 stories that they could do that day. And our news director and our assistant news director kind of go through the list and figure out the best stories of the day. And we decide stories on how many people it's going to impact, how many people are going to be interested, how many people need to know this information. We're trying to reach out to 5 million people from Key West to Boca Raton. And sometimes things in Homestead are not going to be interesting to people who live in Coral Springs. We get that, but sometimes the news is so big, so important, it goes, it's on. And perhaps people in Coral Springs will pick up on something that Homestead is doing and learn from it, and vice versa. So it's a large audience, a big variety of an audience, and we try and pick the best news stories of the day that will interest the most people. Big decisions. But shortly after that meeting is over, the day starts to change. And right now, the scanners are bothering you. We have a construction accident working on the scanners right now. I can hear we have multiple injuries at the construction accident on Brickell. So the scanners are a little louder than usual, a little bit more noisier. But within minutes of that list and assigning reporters their stories, it starts to change, needless to say. That's news. So I become a dispatcher, so to speak, in a police station. For example, when even though I'm not up there, a Brickell accident, I'm going to get on my map right away, and because I have a geo tab, I know where all my crews are. And I'm going to look to see where the closest crew is to Brickell and move them first. And then I'm going to become an air traffic controller because I'm going to launch the helicopter. So I get up and over the scene. And then from there, I'm working with the reporter and photographer to get them there fast. I'm listening to the scanners so that I know what's happening. We have 1 injured, 2 injured, 3 injured. Which hospitals are they going to go to? Do I move another crew to the hospital for the arrival? Again, just like a police dispatcher in a police department, I'm dispatching crews, moving crews to the best places to get the best story. And getting there first has always been important to me. I want to be there first. I want to get the best video. I want to get the best sound bites. I want to get the eyewitnesses. So I work with my crews in the field to make sure they get to the best vantage point possible. Now I want to talk about the people I work with and managing them. They're remarkable, extraordinary people. And I think working through COVID together with them, I'm more proud of them. They are risking their lives every day being out there. I mean, we're putting our microphones on 6-foot poles. We don't go into buildings. We do a lot of Zoom interviews or Skype or Facebook interviews. We try to avoid face-to-face if we can. We social distance at press conferences. All this, the news crews in the field know that from the other stations, 6 feet apart. We insist on people, if they're going to hold a press conference, they hold it outside. We're not coming in. Hold it outside in a big enough space so that we can all distance. I'm amazed, proud, overwhelmed by the group of people that I work with for doing this every day and doing their best to get these stories and the information to you, what you need to know about COVID in your community. And then look at the hurricane coverage, almost hurricane coverage. I mean, they just flip over. Okay, well, now I'm going to get on my rain gear. I'm going to go out to the beach and stand there for 12 hours in the wind and the rain and tell you how bad this hurricane is or is not, and who's being impacted and businesses being shut down. It's very few occupations besides police and fire that you call up and say, hey, we got a plane crash, you got to go. And they go. You've ever heard the A-type personality? I definitely work with the A-type personality. They're competitive, they work fast, they have this strong desire to succeed. There's also very few businesses where you're given an assignment at 9 in the morning and you need to have that done by 4 in the afternoon, 3, 4, 5 in the afternoon. And that means sound bites or interviews, video, background, study. It's every day. you're given an assignment and it has to be completed by the end of the day. So these are the type of people that do that type of work. How do you manage them? I start off initially, now that I've been here long enough, when a new reporter or photographer start, I have a little talk with them and I tell them I'm here for them. I'm here to help them. Call me the station Google. I have the history, I have the background, I have, you remember these things, the Rolodex? Yeah, I have these. I never throw out a number. Plus I have them in my phone. But I encourage them to come and talk to me. I encourage them to reach out to me. They're not alone out there, and it can be very lonely out there, but I can help them. I can help them find an interview, find someone to talk to, give them some background, give them an angle. So the first thing I do is just encourage them to talk to me, and I listen. I listen to the good stuff and the bad stuff. I listen, I hear. I never assume anything, especially if a crew working together might be having an issue. I talk to both. I talk to them, listen to them, and hear them out is another one big thing. I don't assume, and I don't make assumptions on what's going on until I hear from them. I'm also not critical to be critical. If I see something on the air they've done that's wrong, I have a solution to make it better or to correct it, not just to be critical, to be critical. I mean, we've all been in those positions where we've had issues and we go home feeling terrible about ourselves at the end of the day. Well, I don't want my people to feel bad about themselves at the end of the day. They work too hard and are too aggressive every day that they don't need that. So we work it out. We talk about it. I give them suggestions on how to improve. And I let them know when they succeed. I let them know, hey, I like that shot you got. And I'll talk to the photographer and call them up and say, wow, you got a great shot. That was the money, we call it the money shot. This weekend, one of our photographers got this great shot underneath the Deerfield Beach Pier of the waves coming up underneath the Deerfield Beach Pier. And they had lights under the pier. So the waves were being lit as they rolled towards shore. It was a shot of the day. I called them up right away and said, man, you got the shot of the day. So I'm also not only critical, but I also support them and give them praise when I see that it's good sound, good video, good story. They nailed it. They succeeded in what I expected. I let them know. And we're very proud here when we get an exclusive. We love exclusives. And I let them know that I'm proud of them when they do that too. And that gets in big letters over their story, exclusive. So that's a very big deal to us. So that's kind of the way I manage it. I make sure they know I'm here. I'm here to support them. I know their job's tough. I'm not critical to be critical. And, I respect and listen to their suggestions too. And they have suggestions on how I can do my job better. I certainly take that into account as well. And then lastly, I don't gossip. I may listen to gossip, I may overhear gossip, but I don't gossip back. We're in the business of gossip, but I'm very careful that I don't spread it and I don't participate in it because it gets back. And then you'll have your employees not wanting to talk to you because they feel you'll spread it or share it where it doesn't need to be shared. So that's just my other idea, my tasks when I deal with these folks. But they are remarkable and extraordinary coworkers, willing to do the job every day, and they work very hard and out in all the weather conditions possible. And you see them on the air every night. So I'm very, very proud of them. I'll be happy to take questions at this time. I'm sure that you would have some. So whatever you'd like to ask, I'm done.
Thank you, Kerry. Does anyone want to start out with questions? For me, Kerry, I'd like to ask, I noticed the other day there was, Local 10 was very open about those anchors who some had contracted the COVID, and they were very open in talking about their recovery process and so on. How did you keep the morale of the staff up with all this going on inside that, and at the same time having to present the news and the weather and everything else with all the other people who had to work?
Well, again, I think it's the type of person that works. I think we all work with the expectation that somebody was going to get it, even though I really am proud of our station for making a lot of people work at home, giving them the opportunity to work at home. I worked at home for 6 weeks, but decided to, I was asked if I wanted to come back, and I did. It was kind of isolating to be an assignment editor and try and do that from home. We had people, I think the number one focus was to make sure that Nicole and Roy, Betty, there were a few people behind the scenes, were going to be okay. And to get them, make sure that they got the tests they needed, the health care they needed. And I think our focus turned on to make sure that they were okay. I credit Nicole and Roy for wanting to go on the air and tell us how they were doing every day, so that the audience could learn from it, see what the symptoms were like, and that we could see that they were doing better. We saw other people in the networks getting ill and working from home. The cable television is getting sick and working from home. So we felt it was very important that not only for us inside, the public could see how they were recovering and that they were going to be okay. So the morale, I think, has stayed high. We have not had any more reoccurrences. We, after the initial cases that came into the studio area, we've been fine, and there have been no other cases. When someone wants to get tested, we let them go get tested. So it's very much, we communicate about all of it all the time.
Yeah. Thank you. Any other questions for Kerry?
I have one.
Adrian from Travel. Mm-hmm.
Thank you. Kerry, I was wondering, you work on assignments in the morning, and of course, news happens when you don't expect it to happen.
Mm-hmm.
What is the responsibility of the reporter if they're on the way to an assignment and that assignment has to be covered, but oops, they see breaking news? Do they stop? Do they call you and say, hey, this is what I'm seeing? Or do they just go ahead and do it without notifying?
Oh, they'll let us know. Oh, or they'll call the desk and say, hey, are you hearing this working on the scanner? Or, do you know about this? I'm here, I'm seeing this car accident that looks like it's fatal, or there's this house on fire we just passed. Yeah, they'll let us know, cover it, and then I can be back here if they're on their way to an interview or such. I'll call that interview for them and rearrange it. But they stop and
They
cover
have their
it.
flexibility.
Yeah, mm-hmm, yeah. It's a breaking news story. So yes, they'll cover it. Mm-hmm.
I have a question.
Sure. Hi, Beverly.
Hi. So Kerry, most of us in our jobs, we have days that are very busy, very hectic, and then we have days that are slow, and we can kind of catch up on administrative things or whatever and regroup and all that. Sounds like all of your days are very hectic. Is that true? And how do you keep your energy level up to do that, like day after day after day?
Well, I walk every night at most nights in my neighborhood and try and keep my energy level up. When it is slow, that's when you go to your evergreen file and work up some stories that you've been wanting to get to. But it's those days that I'm kind of looking over my shoulder, like, what's my competitor doing? If I'm not doing anything. What are they on that I'm not? So that kind of is very nerve-wracking when it's slow, because you're wondering where your competitors are. But when it's busy, we're kind of all on the same path and doing the same stories, and I'm not worried about getting beat on a story. But there are those days where I can catch up on courts and email and call people that I haven't talked to in months or weeks, and see what they're doing, and actually look for other stories that we can be doing. But I always tell myself that the day I don't get excited about a breaking news story is the day I should retire, that I'm not doing the station any good. But I still, when the blood starts pumping and there's a plane crash or a fire and I've got to get a crew there, I just love that. And, you know, I work with the photographer to get them there the fastest. I'm on the map with them. I'm saying, look, go make a right. No, go to the left. Go around the back. And then the helicopter, when the helicopter's up, you know, I'm working with the helicopter. Zoom in. There it is. There's the guy. Oh, there's the fire. I'm in it. I'm into it. I'm on top of it. And that's what it keeps me going. The slow days are more nerve-wracking than the fast days. Your days go by so fast that it's another day. And I think that's why the last 40 years have gone by so fast. Miami market is the best market in the country to work for. It's incredible. It is so fast-paced and busy. My husband and I travel, and we'll go to LA and New York and Chicago over the years, and we get into the hotel and we turn on the TV and watch the news, and we're like, what? This is Chicago? This is what they're covering? The city commission meeting on a zoning change? Or I'll go to LA, and LA, because of traffic, everything's done by a helicopter. And my husband and I look at each other like, well, let's go back to Miami. It's a great market. We call them markets. I mean, there's like 200 markets in the country. New York, and it's determined by demographic. Like New York is number one because of the population. Then there's LA, then Chicago, Philadelphia, Boston. Miami's, we go back and forth between Tampa, we're 14 and 15 size market in the country. But so we consider ourselves top 20 market in the country. So we're very, very busy here. It's a very different, all the different nationalities and people and so on. It's a great news market. I see Jacqueline. Go ahead.
Hi, Kerry.
Hi.
I'm laughing because I worked with you about 20 years ago.
Oh, and, you did?
Yes. I worked there in Channel 10. And I wasn't sure. I was like, Kerry's not going to remember me because it was so long ago. But Jackie Martin was my name back then.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, okay. So I was listening because I'm like, yep. I mean, Kerry, everything you said, I mean, she is great to work with. Just fabulous. Thanks. And so one thing that I've been doing, I've been working as a freelancer for now. I actually went out to California for 12 years and moved back about 6 years ago. And what I've been doing now is basically teaching businesses, nonprofits, churches, community organizations, how to identify a news story, where they live, work, volunteer, and worship, because that's where these stories are. Right. And so you probably, unknowingly, because I didn't reach out, I've been like hiding out in Coral Springs, because I wasn't sure what I was going to do when I got back, and until I pinpointed it. And so over the last year, I've really been, hitting it. But if you see emails from Newsworthy Stories, which I think I may have even sent you something last night, those stories are from me. And so, I left there. I was at Channel 4 for a while, but and before I moved to California. But since I've been back, I'm trying to make your job easier. And that's what I tell them. And that's what I'm doing, honestly, is I'm trying to teach them how to send a proper press release to a newsroom. So because of all the amounts of press releases that you receive. And I just want you to know, if you see a an email from me, you're getting it from a source that, who's worked in the business, and I know
Yeah.
what it's,
You know, two
and
things.
okay.
There's been an explosion of nonprofits with this economy, an explosion. We're getting more emails from nonprofits than ever before, and it's very easy though to send a press release. Given the amount of, I read a novel every day. I'm reading 400 to 500 pages of stuff every day. But it's just the who, what, where, when, how, and why. And one page, a couple of sentences each. And that when it first comes in, I'm looking for a date because I want to scan it. I want to cut, paste it, and put it in my news format and put it in the day that it's going to be. I may not looking at it again until the day before. And that's when I'll give you a call and say, hey, what's this about? Give me more information. But if it's a good press release, I don't have to call you. It's all there. But it's the basics of journalism: who, what, where, when, how, and why. And you fill that in on a one pager for me. I'm good to go. The publicist is writing it for their boss, but it'll be this big, huge paragraph of the history of the United Way, or the history of the Boys and Girls Club. And hey, I know I've been, I don't need all that. I just need the who, what, where, when, and how. And if I have any questions about your organization, I'll give you a call. It's so easy, and people make it very hard on themselves. I know they want their boss to see, hey, see, I can write a nice press release. See that? You send that to him or her, and just send me the who, what, where, when, and how. I'll be happy.
And that's exactly, I'm so glad. Kerry, I could kiss you right now because that is exactly, I wrote a handbook. It's something you can read in 40 minutes.
Yeah.
It is just those things that, they don't want to hear about your history until when they call you, you can tell them all about it then.
Or you can tell the reporter who goes to the event.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, that's my 2 cents for today, but I just saw you and I was like, Kerry, I haven't seen you in 20 years, but it's good to see you look the same.
Good to see you too. Oh, good. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jacqueline, for those comments. We have no other questions. We're going to go to thank you so much, Kerry. We appreciate you.
Oh,
tomorrow we'll send you out your virtual thank you certificate.
Okay. Well, when is lunch arrive? Is lunch coming? Huh? No.
Yeah, we're virtually having it now. I think
no
now
worries.
Julie is going to break us out into our
Okay.
networking groups for those who want to stay on.
Okay.
Kerry, we really appreciate you. I thank you so much, and we really appreciate Local 10 and the way you guys always support the chamber.
Oh, no problem. I think I'm going to hit leave here, right?
Okay, thank you so much.